A respected British journalist, a heated argument, and a shocking crime in one of the world's most glamorous cities. This is the story of Francis Matthew, a man whose life took a devastating turn in Dubai. Francis Matthew, a British journalist, was a name synonymous with high-profile reporting in the United Arab Emirates. Born and raised in the United Kingdom, Francis grew up in a family that valued education and hard work. He attended a prestigious university where he developed a passion for journalism and international affairs. This passion led him to pursue a career in media, a path that would eventually take him to the Middle East. In the early 1990s, Francis joined Gulf News, a leading English-language newspaper in Dubai. Over the years, he climbed the ranks, becoming one of the most respected editors at the publication. His insightful commentary on the region's politics and culture earned him admiration among readers and colleagues alike. For expatriates in Dubai, Francis represented a voice of knowledge and authority in a rapidly evolving city. Francis's personal life seemed just as accomplished as his professional one. He was married to Jane, a fellow British expatriate. Jane was known for her warm personality and active involvement in community events. The couple had been living in Dubai for decades, making the city their second home. They were part of the thriving expatriate community that had grown alongside Dubai's transformation into a global hub for business and tourism. The Matthews lived in a spacious villa in a quiet residential area. Their home was filled with mementos from their travels and years spent in Dubai, reflecting their shared love for culture and adventure. They were often seen attending social gatherings, hosting dinners, and participating in charitable events. To the outside world, they appeared to be a happy, successful couple, enjoying the fruits of a well-established life in one of the most exciting cities in the world. But life in Dubai wasn't without its challenges. Living in such a fast-paced and competitive environment came with its own set of pressures. For Francis and Jane, financial strains began to emerge as the cost of maintaining their lifestyle grew. Francis's career in journalism, while prestigious, wasn't as lucrative as it had been in the past, and the couple struggled to balance their expenses. Jane, ever supportive, tried to ease the financial burden by taking on additional responsibilities. However, these pressures began to take a toll on their relationship. Friends and neighbors noticed changes in the couple's dynamic, with arguments becoming more frequent. What once seemed like a picture-perfect marriage began to show signs of strain. Despite these challenges, Francis remained committed to his work, continuing to contribute to Gulf News and representing the publication at international forums. However, behind the polished image of a successful journalist lay a man grappling with personal and professional struggles. It was in this context that the events leading to the tragic incident began to unfold. As we delve deeper into this story, we will uncover how the pressures of life, combined with a moment of anger, led to a heartbreaking crime that no one saw coming. On the evening of July 4, 2017, what started as a disagreement between Francis and Jane Matthew over their financial struggles quickly escalated into a violent and tragic confrontation. The couple had been under increasing pressure due to mounting debts, and their once stable relationship had become fraught with tension and arguments. That night, the argument intensified. Witnesses later reported hearing raised voices coming from the Matthews villa, but no one could have predicted what would happen next. In a moment of uncontrollable anger, Francis grabbed a hammer and struck Jane. The impact was fatal. Jane, a well-liked member of Dubai's expatriate community, lost her life in the home they had shared for decades. In the aftermath, Francis attempted to cover up what had happened. When the authorities arrived at the scene, he claimed that intruders had broken into their villa and killed Jane. The story initially seemed plausible, given Dubai's reputation for occasional high-profile burglary cases. However, detectives quickly noticed inconsistencies in Francis's account and physical evidence at the scene. The villa showed signs of a struggle, but there was no evidence of forced entry. Jane's injuries were consistent with blunt force trauma, and forensic analysis indicated that the weapon used was a household item, not something typically associated with an intruder. Furthermore, neighbors reported hearing only the couple's voices during the altercation, contradicting Francis's claims of an outside attack. As the investigation progressed, Francis's version of events unraveled. Detectives pressed him with questions about the inconsistencies, and under mounting pressure, he confessed. He admitted to striking Jane during the argument, explaining that their ongoing financial difficulties and escalating argument had driven him to lose control. The confession shocked those who knew Matthews. To their friends in the larger expatriate community, Francis and Jane had appeared to be a stable and accomplished couple. The revelation of the violent crimes shattered that image and left many grappling with how such a tragedy could occur in what seemed like an idyllic life. Authorities meticulously pieced together the timeline of events from Francis's confession, witness statements, and forensic evidence. They determined that the argument had begun in the early evening and had spiraled into violence as emotions flared. Francis's attempts to cover up the crime by blaming intruders delayed the initial investigation, but his eventual confession provided clarity to the horrific events that unfolded that night. Following his confession, Francis Matthew was taken into custody and charged with premeditated murder. The arrest sent shockwaves through the local and expatriate communities in Dubai, where Francis had been a prominent figure for decades. For many, it was hard to reconcile the man they knew, a respected journalist and editor, with the person who now stood accused of such a heinous crime. The trial began in late 2017, and it quickly became one of the most closely followed cases in Dubai's recent history. Francis appeared in court, visibly shaken and remorseful. During the proceedings, he expressed deep regret for his actions, repeatedly stating that he had not intended to kill Jane. According to his defense, the crime had been a result of a momentary loss of control, fueled by years of accumulated stress and tension in their relationship. Prosecutors, however, argued that the crime was premeditated. They pointed to the use of a hammer as the weapon, suggesting that its deliberate selection indicated forethought. The prosecution also highlighted the attempts Francis made to mislead authorities by initially claiming that intruders were responsible for Jane's death. The courtrooms were packed with members of the media and the public, all eager for updates on the trial. Coverage of the case dominated headlines in Dubai and abroad, with articles detailing every twist and turn. While some expressed sympathy for Francis, citing the immense pressure he had been under, others were less forgiving, condemning his actions and demanding justice for Jane. In October 2018, after a lengthy trial, Francis was convicted. However, the court reduced the charge from premeditated murder to physical assault leading to death, a lesser offense that carried a lighter sentence. The judge acknowledged that while Francis's actions were undeniably severe, there was insufficient evidence to prove that he had planned the crime in advance. Francis was sentenced to 15 years in prison, a decision that sparked mixed reactions among the public. The case didn't end there. In 2019, Francis's legal team filed an appeal, seeking a further reduction in his sentence. The appellate court reviewed the evidence and ultimately reduced his sentence to 7 years, citing mitigating circumstances and the lack of intent to commit murder. This decision divided public opinion even further. Some felt that justice had been served, considering the mitigating factors in the case. Others believed the reduced sentence did not adequately reflect the gravity of Jane's death. For the expatriate community in Dubai, the case left a lasting impact. It brought attention to the hidden pressures and struggles that can accompany life in a fast-paced and high-cost city. For many who had known Matthews personally, it served as a tragic reminder of the importance of addressing conflict and stress before they escalate into irreversible actions. As Francis began serving his sentence, the world moved on, but the memory of the crime lingered. Jane's loss was mourned by her friends and loved ones, and her death became a cautionary tale about the devastating consequences of unchecked anger and unresolved tensions. For Francis, the prison sentence marked the beginning of a long journey of reflection and remorse, a stark contrast to the life he had once led. This case is a stark reminder of how personal and financial pressures can spiral out of control, leading to life-altering consequences. For Francis and Jane Matthew, what began as a life filled with promise and ambition ended in a tragedy that has left deep scars on their loved ones and the community around them. It underscores the importance of addressing conflicts and seeking help during challenging times to avoid irreversible outcomes. What do you think about this case? Could anything have been done to prevent such a tragic ending? Share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. If you found this story compelling, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our deep dives into real-life cases. Sharing this video helps us reach others who might find these stories insightful. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for our next episode, where we unravel another gripping true crime story that will keep you on the edge of your seat.